everybody, my name is Aaron and today I'm going to show you how to fix a burnt out rear bearing in a Jetta TDI. This is in 06, but I believe it's from 05 to 2012 or 2010, so it's quite a bit of range there. Yes, this shirt does have mini anchors on it, and it is the worst shirt my wife has ever bought me. That's why I'm wearing it right now, to fix this car. The sound you're hearing right now that is not a burnt out bearing. That is a dual mass flywheel that is going. So if you have a similar sound to that chugging, check out this video. Let's get started. I'm gonna turn a corner and accelerate and you'll hear the rumble. I hope that the bearing doesn't pack up when I do this, because I've been running this bearing for about 2 months, 6-hour-long trips, didn't know it was the bearing going, and this thing is so loud. Here we go. I'm accelerating to 80 clicks, which is about 50 miles an hour. We're at 50 kilometers an hour. Oh, this is getting bad. It's starting to resonate. It gets so loud that you can't even hear yourself talk, and it's so painful on your ears. It sounds like a really loud tire roar, but it's definitely not a tire roar. So you're gonna need a kit, something like this. You're gonna need a 14 mil, and you're gonna need an 18 mil. The 18 mil is to take off the big bolt, right? And the 14 mil is to take off the caliper. Now, you need a 1/2-inch drive on the 18, or else you'll shear off the drive. And this one, 1/4 inch, that's fine. You'll also need a Trox. I just pulled my assortment of ends, and I found a Trox that fits this screw that comes out of this hole that's on the bearing. Okay, so I can link you to this kit and an assortment of Trox in the description. So right here is everything you need to get started. Let's go through it. First of all, you're going to need to get a bearing, a replacement bearing. It comes with a replacement cap, but what you also need is this, which is the bolt to hold on the bearing. So you're going to need a new one of these for sure, because the one that's in there right now is stretched. Okay, it's been torqued and then half torqued past where it's supposed to be, so it's been stretched. So you need a new one. So these you can get as a kit. I got a link in the description for them. You're gonna need a torque wrench. This is a super fancy one from way long time ago, but there's also simpler ones that you can get for cheaper. This one has a 1/2-inch drive, which you're gonna need, and I'll explain why in a few minutes here. But this is very, very important. One more special thing, you'll need this guy right here. If you don't have one, I'm sorry. This is to get off your one special wheel lug on each wheel, unless you've changed your lugs. So next down the list, we have a 17 mil hex for your wheel lugs. Okay, that fits in there nicely, and it'll do the rest of them as well. Then we're gonna need a 1/4-inch drive ratchet. Then we're gonna need a 1/2-inch drive ratchet. I also have a snipe, which fits on both of those, because you're going to need a snipe for this because it's pretty difficult. Just in case we run into problems, I also have some WD-40, which is always a bonus. You'll need a car jack and a stand as well, because we're going to get this wheel off the ground. So now that we've covered everything, let's get started. Oh yeah, and you'll want some eye protection and gloves as always. Let's do this. So to help troubleshoot which tire has the bad bearing, we're going to car jack. Before we loosen anything, we're going to car jack it up, and then we're going to play with the tire a bit, give it a wiggle, see if it's loose. If it is loose, then that's pretty much a tell that your bearing is gone. So I'm moving this further down the car so I can put the jack stand right back here, wherever that lip is. We're getting the weight off the tire. We want to make sure to put our jack stand under as soon as we can, just in case something slips off. We're still not off the ground yet. That's pretty high. Okay, we are off the ground. So let's have a look. So my bearing isn't wiggling, but I can hear it. I can hear it. It sounds a bit like brakes. Maybe I got the wrong wheel? Oh, it's getting really loud. Do you hear that? I'm confident this is the one. Usually it will wobble, but it's not wobbling. I'm assuming that it would wobble more in the front, because the front setup just a wee bit different. So I'm going to drop the tire a little bit and we're gonna loosen up the lug nuts. So I'm dropping the car a little bit to get some weight on the tire. I got the jack stand to its bottom setting. There we go. Now there's some weight on the tire. I can't move it, which means it's gonna be easier to get these lugs out. So let's get started. Is that a half? It's tighter. That's looser. If I didn't use the car weight on the tire to loosen this, then I would be relying on the brakes to do it. And most of the time the brakes don't hold up against that much pressure. Let's try it again with this. There we go. All right, we did it. So now I'm going to jack the tire up. Okay, it's starting to come off the ground a bit. There we go. That's about as high as that's gonna get. And now I can loosen the rest of this without having to use the snipe. You can use a driver to do this too. It's going to be way shorter with an impact driver. Okay, there it is. Tire goes off to the side. Here we are. I'm going to spray a little bit of WD. Probably not going to do much because it's so tightly in there. But now's the time where you pull out your Turocks. Okay, so it's been a few minutes to let the WD settle or set in. Ooh, I think I'm going to strip my... Let's give it a try. Oh no, I gotta lock this in place. Maybe the parking brake. So I pulled the e-brake as hard as I could. Let's give this a go. Oh, it came right out. Would you look at that? Nothing to it. So now I'm gonna pull the e-brake off, and we're gonna get at the caliper back here. It's those two greased up bolts. That's your 14 mil triple square, and that's the other one down there. And those are the two you need to get at. I'm using a 1/4 inch drive with a snipe, because these things are on super tight. So I cannot for the life of me get this thing loose. So what I'm doing is one click at a time. I'm stomping on this 2x4 to make the wrench go. One click at a time. Let's see if I can get it now. Nope. That was 2 clicks this time, so we're making it. Let's try it again, shall we? It's coming now. And now we're back to 1 or 2 clicks at a time. There we go, we got it. So that's 1. Okay, just to give you an idea of how I'm getting this second lower 14 mil bolt off for the caliper, is I have the ratchet. It's really hard to see, so I'm going to use this ratchet as an example. So I have the ratchet in a downward position like that behind there. I have the end of this strap hooked to the hook on the bottom of the ratchet. I am ratcheting this, which is hooked up to a frame pipe there, and it's pulling it like that to get it out. I'm using this piece of wood so that the strap is angled directly parallel and not pulling it away to the back or anything like that. So that piece of wood is helping me guide it, and it's slowly working. It is still extremely hard to do, so let's give it another try here. So I have pulled it over as much as I can. I'm going to pull it all off, reset it, put it all back on, and ratchet it again. We are getting close to getting this caliper off. So I'm just going to stick my head back in here, and that is the second bolt. So this caliper, and I guess the entire rotor is going to come out as well. Super. Okay, so I turned on the car and pumped the brakes a bit. Probably didn't help. But I'm using this big screwdriver to pry this off. I have a funny feeling that I'm going to have a really terrible time getting this back on. So hopefully I can just pull it. There you go. Now where to put all this mess without breaking a brake cable. Let me go get a box or something to put this on. There. I cheated. Yeah, baby. Just gotta be careful not to completely destroy that brake line. That would suck. So now we're moving on to this end cap, which apparently just pops off. Ooh, that feels ridiculous. Definitely the right bearing. There it is. It looks like it's glued on or something. It is glued on. What am I dealing with here? Oh, you end up like breaking into it in order to... Look at that hole. So I broke into it, but there's a lip. So good thing I have a replacement one of these. There it is. All right. So I probably made it a bigger deal than it actually was. But that's the little cap that protects that, I guess. And I can see the bearings on the inside. So compare that to this one. I cannot see the bearings on the inside of this one. So that's a huge flaw. So this cap obviously didn't do as good a job as I thought. There's rust in here, and because I can see these bearings, that water got in there and the whole nine. So now we have to take out this big bolt. Alright, so we're ready to try the bolt. I sprayed some WD in here. If anything, it's just going to lube bearings that I'm never going to use again. I don't think this snipe is big enough, but we're going to give it a try. So get on your knees and tell me you love me. Here we go. I can feel it moving a bit. Yeah, one little click at a time, I guess, hey? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's coming. Oh, I'm coming. Here we go. Yes. 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 What a finish. This is nuts. Use a driver or an impact driver for this. I'm gonna be sitting here all night. Woo! There she be. All stretched. Well, I don't know. I guess we can compare it. Here's the new one. Let's see if it's actually stretched or not. It is stretched. It's hard to tell, but it's stretched about a couple mil. If I put them flush with each other, it's stretched about a couple mil. Okay, so there is the... Okay, well, apparently that was supposed to be harder to pull out than that. But let me show you the inside of it. Like, that's not good. See how there's a cap ring in here? There's no cap ring right here. And you can see the bearings in the background moving. We zoom in. Look at that. Okay, so the bearings are exposed. This one, the bearings are not. And this cap, obviously got some water in. Look at all that buildup. And there's buildup on the bolt. So yeah, this one's definitely screwed. So let's install the new one. All right, here's the new one. Ooh, I got a bunch of dirt on the back. That's not cool. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit. Does it actually spin? Oh yeah, that spins and it feels nice. Like it should. Okay. I should probably WD-40 that a little bit. Clean it up. Probably use carb cleaner instead of WD-40, but actually it's probably a better thing to do. And don't spray it down the threads like I just did. Don't do that. Grab a little rag here and clean it off. Cool. It's a bib from when my kids were little. Oh my, all the memories, and you're ruining all of them. Okay, let's put this on. It just slides on. Just like that. So much better. Spin that all day long. Okay, now the big bolt. So it's already got blue Loctite on the bottom of it. Just gonna slide it in, and we gotta torque it. So we can get it in all the way, and then we're gonna torque it. Let's do this. Oh my gosh, this takes forever. Okay, so we've got it. Now we gotta get our torque wrench ready. Okay, so now for the arguably the most important part. I got my torque wrench set to 133. And we're going to listen for a pop. So 133 foot-pounds, and then it's a quarter turn after that. So I don't think I've clicked the ratchet yet. Oh, is that it? There it is. And then it's a quarter turn after. It's going to suck. So here we go. Let's see if I can get it. Oh. Okay. There it is, quarter turn. Whew. Almost forgot something, and that is the end cap. So nice and shiny. I have a rubber mallet here, and we're just gonna pound it in. This is probably not gonna fit very well though. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Gotta get one good hit in. There it is. It's super late at night, so my neighbors are probably gonna kill me. But let's give it a go. it is. And you just pound it in the rest of the way. Don't forget that cap. We did it. To get driving again, you just put everything back on the way I showed you to take it off. Pretty basic stuff. The hardest part about this was getting the caliper off for me. Some people struggle to get the bearing out, so it just kind of depends on the wear and tear, your mileage, quite literally. I'd say the difficulty rating is around about a 5 because everything's so really tight and you have to get creative to get things off. But we did it. Took me, I'd say if I didn't have to deal with really tight bolts, this would take like a half an hour. But once again, your mileage will vary. Just an asterisk, never trust a man on YouTube with mini anchors on his shirt. So I'm out. I'm going to throw this back together. It's getting late and I'm getting eaten alive by the mosquitoes. Putting back on the caliper. I've already done the bottom bolt and I'll show you the creative way that I'm putting it on there. So I've got a strap coming underneath, connecting to the bottom of the ratchet down up in here. Leverage against the frame. So we can watch it turn ever so slightly, and then you get to do it again and again, and it's 1 or 2 clicks at a time, but eventually it'll get tight. Happy fun times. Also, there's a freaking cat in these bushes that is freaking out and growling and everything, so if I die, this is the